Yes, sir.
एक मिनिट फक्त.
So we have already start the chapter number 3, that is machine learning. What is machine learning? We have seen that the as a human can learn everything automatically from his experience, also from the data which he has. The same way, if we want to, machine will learn automatically. So for that purpose, we have to give the data, the some information to the machine, so that that particular machine can predict the pattern, that particular machine can have the mathematical module or reasoning or logical reasoning, and from that particular module or reasoning, machine can predict the new thing, machine can learn something from the previous data or previous experience. That is a machine learning. So then we have seen how that particular machine learning works. So we have to give first the training data we have to give for the machine learning algorithm. Then it will learn from that particular data, build some logical models, and when a new data come, it apply that particular logical model which that particular machine learning has created from the previous data. And when new data will come, by using that particular logical model, it will give the output. So this way the machine will learn, or a machine will give the output when the new data is come to it. Understood? जैसे कि अ, हम कुछ भी नॉलेज लेते हैं या कुछ लर्न करते हैं, तो हमारा एक्सपीरियंस होता है या प्रीवियस डेटा होता है, उससे हम कुछ नई सीखने की कोशिश करते हैं। द सेम वे, अगर हम मशीन को डेटा देंगे, ट्रेनिंग डेटा देंगे, तो उस हिसाब से मशीन क्या करेगा, वी कैन बिल्ड द मैथमेटिकल मॉडल, वी कैन बिल्ड the reasoning, we can build the logical model. And if a new data come and we want output from that particular new data, what is the output of that particular new data, so that machine will apply the logical model which that particular machine has built from the previous data, or that particular machine has built from the training data. And by using that particular logical model, it will give you the output when new data comes to that particular machine. So this is about the machine learning. Have you cleared this concept, this particular block diagram of machine learning? How machine learning will give the output when the new data comes to the particular machine? Yes? Yes, Rohan.
Yes, sir. Sir, screen share kar.
Array, screen not share. Okay,
No.
okay, okay. I will share you the screen. Yes. Now screen is visible to you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. बोलते जाओ मुझे जल्दी ऐसे. Thank you, Rohan. I think you can see now this model. Okay.
Yes, sir.
ओके. जैसे कि मैंने अभी बताया, सो वी लर्न फ्रॉम द प्रीवियस डेटा, वी लर्न फ्रॉम द एक्सपीरियंस. द सेम वे, इफ यू वांट टू learn machine, and if you want to machine learn automatically by itself, then how that particular machine will learn? Machine will learn from its previous data, from its particular experience. So for that purpose, we have to give the training data to machine learning algorithm. So it will build the logical model, it will build the mathematical model according to the previous data, according to the particular experience. And when new data will come, that particular machine will give the output. This is about the machine learning. Understood?
Yes, sir.
feature of machine learning. So there are machine learning use the data to detect the various pattern in a given data set. So how a particular machine will learn automatically? So that particular machine will find the particular pattern, or will find some logical reasoning between the data, and by using that particular pattern or logical reasoning, or some mathematical module, it will learn the new things. It will learn from the past data and improve automatically. So it is a data driven technology. When you are talking about the machine learning, it is a data driven technology. First we have to give the data, and when we give the training data whose output is known, from that particular training data, machine will pick the mathematical model, machine will build the logical model, and when the new data will come, it will give you the output. So this is about the features. Also, that particular machine learning is much similar to the data mining, as it is also deals with the huge amount of that particular data. What happen if you want to learn something, if you want to gain some knowledge from the data, at that time you have to give the huge amount of data. So machine learning is also work as a data mining process. How the data mining is there, how we get the data from the huge data, the same way machine will try to find the pattern, will try to find, or will try to build a logical model, will try to build a mathematical model, and from that particular model it will give you the output when new data has come to that particular machine. So this is about the feature about the machine learning. The next topic, that is history of machine learning. Before machine learning, in 1940s, artificial intelligence was there, and machine learning is a part of artificial learning, and the deep learning is also the part of the machine learning. So artificial intelligence is the combination of machine learning and the deep learning. So we have seen this particular machine learning history, what happened in the up to 2000. In 1997, the IBM, if you see the 1997, the IBM, that is Deep Blue Intelligent Computer, won the chess game against the chess experts Gary Kasparov, and it became the first computer which had the beaten a human chess expert. सो हाउ दैट पर्टिकुलर मशीन, जैसे कि हम कंप्यूटर में देखते हैं कि गेम होते हैं, सो हमारे मोबाइल में भी हम क्या कर सकते हैं, गेम ये कर सकते हैं, इंस्टॉल कर सकते हैं. दैट पर्टिकुलर गेम, दैट पर्टिकुलर मशीन विल प्ले विथ अस व्हेन आपने आपने खेला है कभी चेस वगैरह कंप्यूटर के ऊपर या अपने मोबाइल के ऊपर? यस.
Yes, sir.
हाँ.
Yes, sir.
ओके. तो क्या होता है, वो कैसे खेलता है हमारे साथ, हाउ दैट पर्टिकुलर मशीन, और हाउ दैट पर्टिकुलर योर मोबाइल और कंप्यूटर प्ले विथ यू व्हेन यू प्ले द चेस विद दैट पर्टिकुलर मशीन. क्या लगता है आपको, कैसे खेलते रहेगा वो, हाउ ही कैन जज हाउ दैट पर्टिकुलर मशीन मेक अ डिसीजन इन दैट पर्टिकुलर गेम, whether you are playing the cricket on a machine, whether you are playing the chess on a machine or computer. So how do you think how that particular machine will take the decision? How that particular application will take the decision? Yes? क्या लगता है आपको? रोहन बता सकते हैं आप?
No, sir.
गलत रहेगा तभी चलेगा। आपको कैसे क्या लगता है कैसे डिसीजन लेते होंगे वो, मीन्स दैट पर्टिकुलर मशीन? अभिजीत, अभिजीत बता सकते हो आप?
हम जब खेलते हैं उसके अकॉर्डिंग वो,
क्या क्या क्या?
हम जब गेम खेलते हैं उसके साथ तो उसके अकॉर्डिंग वो पेश करता होगा।
हाँ तो हम कौन सी अगर हम स्टेप चलते हैं तो हम अगर एक स्टेप चलता है तो उसके हिसाब से मशीन क्या करता है, स्टेप चलता है। वो कैसे? क्योंकि वहाँ पे प्रीवियस डेटा होता है, ये स्टेप होने के बाद उसने क्या करना चाहिए, कौन सा डिसीजन लेना चाहिए, दैट इज ऑलरेडी मेंशन देयर। अंडरस्टूड? अंडरस्टूड? प्रीवियस
यस
डेटा
सर।
उसके पास होता है, ये खेलने के बाद क्या होना चाहिए, हमने मैथमेटिकल मॉडल वहाँ पे सेट किया होता है, लॉजिकल मॉडल वहाँ पे सेट किया होता है। देन दैट विल ट्राई टू, उसके पास ह्यूज डेटा होता है, ये करने के बाद क्या होना चाहिए, क्या होना चाहिए। सो देर इज अ डिफरेंट पैटर्न, देर इज अ डिफरेंट रीजनिंग, देर इज अ different mathematical model that has built in a machine, so that it will take a decision according to that particular model. Understood? So, if you see the history of the machine learning in 21st century, so in 2006, the computer scientist that is Geoffrey Hinton has given a new name to the neural net research as a deep learning, and nowadays it has become one of the most trending technologies. So, deep learning is also the part of machine learning. It is a subset of, you can say it is a subset of machine learning, and both this deep learning and machine learning is a subset of artificial intelligence, or you can say it is a part of artificial intelligence. In 2012, Google created a deep neural network which learned to recognize the image of human and cats in YouTube videos. So to catch the image of suman and the cats that is created by the Google by using the deep neural network. In 2014, the chatbot that is Eugen Guzman cleared the Turing test, and it was the first chatbot who convinced the 33% of human judges that it was not a machine. Then in 2014, that is DeepFace was a deep neural network created by the Facebook, and they claim that it could recognize a person with the same precision as a human can do. That is the DeepFace in 2014 that is used by the Facebook. Then in 2016, that is AlphaGo beat the world's number second player, that is Lee Sedol at Go game in 2017. It beat the number one player of its game, that is Kiji. So this is about the history of the machine learning. Then next topic, that is machine learning and versus statistical learning. What is the machine learning and what is the statistical learning? So both method are data dependent, means if you have to learn, if you are thinking about the statistical learning, if you are getting the output by using the statistical learning, and if you compare the machine learning and statistical learning, both learning are same, both methods are data dependent. So for both the particular learning, that is the machine learning and the statistical learning, we have to give the data for both this type of learning. So it is a data dependent, or you can say it is a data driven method. It will generate, or it will build the new model, it will build the some mathematical model, it will build some new logical model, and when new data comes according to its data driven method which they has created a model or they has created the pattern, it will give you the output. So it is formalized in the form of relationship between the variables where machine learning learn from the data without explicitly programmed instruction. So machine learning learn from the data, it will learn from its experience. जैसे कि ह्यूमन बीइंग लर्न करता है उससे हम कैसे कुछ नई बात सीखते हैं या लर्न करते हैं, तो डेटा से या एक्सपीरियंस से हम कुछ नए बात सीखते हैं. अंडरस्टूड. द सेम वे machine learning try to learn new things when we give the data. By using that particular data, machine learning try to find the pattern, try to find the different model, try to build the logical model. So without any program instruction, that particular machine learning try to learn new things. And statistical learning is based on the smaller data set with a few attributes, and compared to the machine learning where it can learn from the billions of observation and attribute. So when you compare the statistical learning and when with the machine learning, for machine learning we have to give the huge amount of data, we have to give the billions number of observation and attribute. Then from that particular observation and attribute, machine learning try to learn new things. But when you compare that machine learning with the statistical learning, statistical learning will build a knowledge, will learn from the smaller data set with a few data attribute. Means we have to give the very smaller number of attributes, we have to give the very smaller data, then it will get the things, it will get or it will learn the new things by using that smaller data. Then third point, that is statistical learning operates on the assumption. Means uh, that particular learning operates on assumption, there is some assumption and on that particular assumption statistical learning operates, and such as normality, no multicollinearity, homocedancity. And when machine learning is not as dependent on assumption, and it is most in the case of ignorance of them. So if there is any assumption, machine learning don't think about that particular assumption, machine learning will not work on that particular assumption, and it try to neglect that particular assumption, while statistical learning work on the assumption. And fourth point, the main difference, that is statistical learning is mostly about the inference. Most of the idea is generated from the sample. Most of the data is generated from the population and hypothesis. And in comparison to the machine learning, which emphasizes prediction, is emphasizes with the supervised learning, unsupervised learning and semi supervised learning. अगर हम कंपेयर करें तो स्टैटिस्टिकल लर्निंग सैंपल के डेटा के ऊपर काम करता है और उससे ट्राई टू बिल्ड समथिंग, ट्राई टू बिल्ड द assumption. Then there is a population, there is a hypothesis when you think about the statistical learning. But in machine learning, it predicts from the supervised learning, unsupervised learning and the semi supervised learning. Then last point, that is statistical learning is a math intensive which is based on the coefficient estimator and requires a good understanding of your data. So to get something, to get the output from the statistical learning, you have to give the number of coefficient. When you have to give the number of coefficient, we have to give the data to the statistical learning. At that time it will learn, it will give you the output. So it require a good understanding of your data. So on the other hand, machine learning identifies the pattern from your data set through the iteration, which require a way less of human efforts. So Machine learning try to find out what are the different patterns in the data set, what are the different patterns in the data, and try to find out the new models, try to find out the some logical learning, try to find out or try to build the mathematical model or logical model. And we use that particular mathematical model or logical model, and when a new data comes, that particular machine will give you the output. Understood? Yes.
Yes, sir.
So next is the different type of machine learning. अभी machine learning की कौन से type है? That is supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and reinforcement learning. So if you see, this is the classification or the type of machine learning. Three main types, or you can say three main categories, that is supervised learning, reinforced learning, and unsupervised learning. ये तीन टाइप है. Supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and reinforced learning. डायग्राम दिखाई दे रही है आपको?
Yes, sir.
ओके. अभी सुपरवाइज लर्निंग मीन्स व्हाट? यस. सुपरवाइज
Sir,
लर्निंग.
input
हाँ, यस यस, बताइए, हमारा हो गया था ये.
in input data as well as correct output data to the machine learning model.
Means we have to provide the input data, that is the training data. Means we have to give the label data. Means the input data we know, and we also know what will be the output if we give this particular data to the machine. And we are try to, means we know the input data and we know the output data. जैसे कि एक क्लास में टीचर बच्चों को पढ़ाते हैं, उनको डेटा भी पता होता है, उसका आउटपुट भी पता होता है. द सेम में हम मशीन को लर्न करने के लिए लेबल डेटा देंगे. मीन्स जो डेटा हमें पता है और उसका आउटपुट भी हमें पता है. तो हम जब वो डेटा देंगे तो मशीन ने उस हिसाब से आउटपुट देना चाहिए. अंडरस्टूड? वी आर ट्राई टू गिव द आउटपुट द सेम एज द ह्यूमन कैन गिव. So in supervised learning, the training data is provided to the machine and work as a supervisor, and that teach the machine to predict the output correctly. So it applies the same concept as the student learn in the supervision of the particular teacher. So supervised learning is a process of providing input data as well as the correct output data to the machine learning model. सो हम मॉडल को क्या देते हैं? इनपुट डेटा देते हैं, और उसका आउटपुट भी हमें पता है. वो डेटा हम किसको देते हैं? मशीन लर्निंग का जो लर्निंग मॉडल है उसको देते हैं. एंड द एम ऑफ दैट पर्टिकुलर सुपरवाइज लर्निंग algorithm is to find the mapping function to the map the input variable with the output variable. So in the real world, supervised learning can be used for the risk assessment, image classification, fraud detection, spam filtering. So how that particular supervised learning works? So in supervised learning model, are training using a label data set where the model learns about the each type of data. Once the training process is completed, the model is tested on the basis of the stage data or the subset of training set, and it predicts the output. The working of supervised learning can be easily understood by the below example. For example, this is label data. We know the data. If we have this particular data and we are giving this particular data to the training model, means we have to train that particular model, mathematical model, or it may be the logical model. So we give this particular label data to that particular model, and label data means what? We know what is this, we know what is this, means we know this is hexagon, this is particular triangle, and this is square. So this label data we are give to the model, means model, and that particular model try to predict what is the data, what is that particular output, what is the uh, that particular data, whether it is a square or whether it is a triangle. So if we know this is a triangle, this is a hexagon, and this is a square, and we try to give this particular label data to the model, training model, and we want that particular model will predict what is the label of that particular data, whether it is a square or whether it is a triangle. So that particular model try to get the pattern, try to mention some particular logical things and give the output, and we test that particular data whether that particular model has given the correct output or not. Suppose we have the data set of the different type of the shapes, which include the square, rectangle, and triangle, and polygon. Now the first step is that we need to train the model for each shapes. If with the given shape has four sides and all the sides are equal, then it will be labeled as a square. So this is the model. Agar it has the four sides and all the sides are equal, then it will be labeled as a square. वो model ने ऐसा output देना चाहिए. If the given shape has a three side, then it will be labeled as a triangle, and if the given shape has the six equal sides, then it will be labeled as the hexagon. So we are try or we are giving this type of training data to the that particular or to train that particular model. Now after training, we test our model using the test set, and the task of the model is to identify the shape. अभी हमने क्या प्रिडिक्शन किया था उसको, अगर चार साइड है, उसके चार साइड इक्वल है, तो हम उसको स्क्वायर बोलेंगे. तीन साइड है, देन वी लेबल दैट पर्टिकुलर डेटा इज अ ट्रायंगल. इफ that particular data has the six equal side, then we label that particular hexagon. So we are try to teach a module, we are try to build that particular training module. After training, we test our model using the test data, means test we are providing the test data to that particular model, and try that whether that particular model is going to identify the shapes with correct or not, with correct label or not. So the machine is already trained on the all types of shape, and when it finds a new shape, it classifies the shape on the base of the number of sides and the predict the output. Understood? Understood?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
है का नाही? इथं जर चार साईड असेल, चारही साईड इक्वल असेल, तर त्या ट्रेनिंग डेटाने काय म्हणलं पाहिजे? स्क्वेअर म्हणलं पाहिजे. तीन साईड असेल तर ट्रायंगल म्हणलं पाहिजे. चार साईड असेल तर स्क्वेअर म्हणलं पाहिजे. असं सुपरविजनसाठी आपण मॉडेलला ट्रेन करतो, आणि नवीन जेव्हा डेटा येतो त्यावेळेस टेस्ट करतो की त्याच्या साईड किती आहे, त्याच्याप्रमाणे तो ट्रेनिंग मॉडेल उत्तर देतो का नाही, त्याप्रमाणे मॉडेल लेबल करतो का नाही त्या डेटाला. So there are different steps involved in the supervised learning. First, determine the type of training data set. What data, what type we are giving to that particular data. Collect or gather the labeled training data. We have to gather the training data. Split the training data set into the training, that is data set, data test, and validation data set. Determine the input feature of the training data set, which should have the enough knowledge so that the model can accurately predict the output. अभी डेटा भी क्या होना चाहिए, क्लियर होना चाहिए. So it will predict the something from that particular data and try to give the accurate means try to give the correctly or try to predict the output very correctly. Then determine the suitable algorithm for that particular model, such as the support vector machine and decision tree. So there are different type of algorithm that is support vector machine and decision tree is there. Then execute that particular algorithm on the training data which we have provided, which we have provided the data training data set to the particular machine or to the algorithm. Sometimes we need the validation set as the control parameters, which are the subset of the training data set. Then evaluate the accuracy of that particular model by providing the test set. If the model predict the correct output, which means our model is accurate. Understood? How we are going to yes, understood.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
बाकी के स्टूडेंट कहाँ है? हुँ? शाहरुख पठान, रोहन, ममता चौधरी, गौरव शुक्ल, दीपाली कराड़े, अभिजीत बाबर और स्नेहल संघवी. What about the other students? Yes, Shobit Krishnani is also there. Shobit is also there. Understood, Shobit? What is supervised learning? Shahrukh?
Yes, sir.
So today we will stop here और आपके जो बच्चे हैं बाकी के स्टूडेंट हैं उनको बताइए लेक्चर अटेंड करती जाइए और लेक्चर होने के बाद आप अपना अटेंडेंस मैंने गूगल शीट दिया है आपको पता है सबको ग्रुप में.
Yes, sir.
हाँ वहाँ पे अपना अटेंडेंस मेंटेन करते जाइए. ममता, गौरव, दीपाली.
Yes,
दीपाली
yes, sir.
अटेंडन्स मेंटेन करीत जा तुमची रोजची रोज हा, त्यामध्ये गुगल शीटमध्ये. ठीक आहे, माहिती आहे ना. ग्रुपवर टाकलेलं आहे गुगल शीट, त्याच्यावर क्लिक करायचं आणि ती तारीख बघायची, तिथं तारखेवर अटेंडन्स लिहायची तुमची यस म्हणून वाय. ओके.
Yes, sir.
ठीक आहे. सो टुडे वी विल स्टॉप हियर. ठीक आहे.